The short Night Owl Winter Series continues with the second and middle round of the three-race championship. Hello, everybody. Welcome back again after a one-week hiatus. I'm Jesse Lee, joined by Ted Edwards and Ryan Mawson on the cameras tonight. We're home, back home again in the UK at Donington Park, one of the best racing facilities and most action-packed circuits anywhere in the world. What will we see tonight from our three different categories of GT3 machinery: Pro, Silver, and Am? Ted Edwards, welcome in and welcome home.
Yo, how you doing, Jesse Lee? It's good to be back in the land of the UK. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun today. I see, Jesse, there's quite a few drivers on the track that have turned up, so that is a good sign as any. And as we see the practice session coming to an end, and we will go into qualifying in just a few minutes. But it's going to be a fun-packed day. I heard rain could be on the way, so we can look out for that one. See if we have a wet qualifying, which would be very nice for us. Probably not for the drivers, but hey, good fun. So, how have you been, Jesse? Is a question.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've been thinking about this championship quite a lot. It's a short three-round championship. There's no drop rounds here, as far as I'm aware. There's no recourse to making a mistake. Anything you do here is ultimately important. And at a racetrack like this, it's very polarizing. Some cars have excellent BOP here. Others are going to struggle. Everyone, regardless of what car you're in, is going to struggle with the dreaded chicane.
Yeah, it's true. The chicane can be horrible at times, especially if you are trying to get as much time around the track as you can, and you're cutting it close. The next minute you get a track warning or three. But yeah, I like to point out there is a drop round, Jesse Lee. I made it a little bit easier for the drivers as it's Christmas time.
Hey, you gave him a little bit of a Christmas present here. I like it. I like what you've done with that. I'm so used to Night Out now, the way that it's ran without having one, but of course, it is a small Christmas miracle. Everybody gets a drop round. The two best rounds will count. Some teams and drivers then will almost certainly be.
They also have two sign outs as well, so if they can't make tonight, they can always just sign out. Doesn't matter which one happens. Because points won't be counted. But here we go for a bit of qualifying around at Donington Park. We have it's like KFC Audi, followed by the Lexus, the big old screaming V8. Is something to hear, Jesse. We don't see many Lexus in our champs as much as we would like to. And there goes the tyre barrier that is already gone.
Never fails. Always gets kicked to the side. I think I have seen that tire bale make it through a lap one single time in the history of my commentary here on ACC. It's not there in a lot of other sims. It's not a problem. Some sims even go to the drastic measure of putting these blockade walls to keep people from cutting the chicane. I just feel like that is quite a bit more dangerous. ACC has elected to use the tire bale to mark the most inner point of the corner, but never fails to try to go through there too wide. Almost certainly you're going to knock it around. I would say nearly half of the time it's taken out on the parade lap. This is a fast lap now being run here in qualifying as we are underway. Doesn't matter what class you're in, where you qualify is where you are going to start. Will anybody surprise us here today? I dare say somebody will.
Just a little information from the stewards. So we already have a penalty. It's in form of a warning for car 38 use of in-game chat. Now we don't allow that when it's in qualifying and the race, because it can put other drivers off that are busy, either finishing the race, finishing quality or whatever. Can get very distracting. So that car already has a warning, Jesse, and not really how you want to start your race on the Saturday night.
No, it sure isn't. Starting yourself out off in a hole, we say, and have to claw their way back out of that. We'll see if the day improves for them. We talked about the weather, the potential thereof. Nothing doing here today. It is a partly cloudy day. The track is optimum, 21 degrees C. Yeah, on the track, 15 ambient. Absolutely nothing to complain about here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice at the minute, especially around Donington. Um, you know, want all the grip as you can. It's quite a fast track, especially as we come down the graded curves into the old hairpin and up to Starkey's Bridge. It's a fun track. It's a very fun track when you've got a good car going for you. It's when that rain comes. As I said before, some drivers have been doing a little bit of practice beforehand and have said about rain, and yeah, rain can be really annoying if it doesn't come down in a big shower and makes the track really wet, because if it's damp, it's not much fun.
Damp racetrack or no, everybody trying to set the quickest laps. Currently, quickest is this man, the Team Ballas Esport Lexus. You don't ever really get to say that, do you, Ted? Dario Barzaghi, a 26.607. That's half a tenth quicker than Timothy Flamger's Mercedes. You got Ibi Atta up there, all the way in P3. That silver 505 BMW. They're 3.5 tenths off the overall pace, but have quite a nice gap back to second place in their own class. That'd be Firth down in sixth place. They are just about a second off, and now they're going to be a little bit more than that. Barzaghi goes quicker, a 26.345. That's 3 tenths quicker than them. And Leon Seeley, the man from Barbados, goes provisional P1, does it by a tenth, a 26.227.
Yeah, just showing that Aston Martin still got legs. As we know, it has had a bit of a buff, I believe, in the past few patches in ACC, and it's very nice to see as the car. It's very easy as a new driver, but when you're getting into the late game of, you know, you're getting faster and faster, it's not the greatest car. But as we see, Seeley's showing us that it's still at this A game, and obviously Flamger in the Mercedes as well, showing that that's the car still got legs.
The SOP Esports car, that Aston, well, it's home, certainly, isn't it? British car, British racetrack. It only just makes sense. It only just bloody works, as you would say. Neil Pimlott goes P4 in the 104, nearly 5 tenths off the overall pace, but less than a third of a tenth off of Flamger right now. Dauber sitting tough inside the top 5. Kierton in the 111 Honda. That's another interesting choice for this particular championship, well up inside the top 10.
Oh, look at them 2 times. Flamger going top over Seeley and Barzaghi. 0.002 to Seeley and 0.007 to Barzaghi. That was a close top 3.
Well, it's a very interesting situation. Flamger, who has been quick in recent memory and RCI competition, not just here on Night Out, is continuing that trend as they are provisional pole. Santo was provisional pole in silver, and now Lewis takes that position away. The 14 BMW over the 94. Danny Santo, the SRI Esports BMW, battling a little bit of traffic there. That is not what they would have wanted, trying to track down the leader in their class, and only just about half a tenth or so in it between those two. Kaneko quickest in AM, and by quite a margin, and by quite a margin I mean almost exactly a second, 8 tenths thereabout for Kaneko in the 740 Lamborghini on provisional AM pole right now, as Danny Santo, even with taking care of the traffic into the hairpin, goes quickest in silver.
Lost a lot of time into that hairpin, but obviously didn't really hinder him that much. So a nice P5 overall and a provisional pole in silver, very nice. And his Atto dropped down, was first a few laps ago, but now he's third in silver. So see if they can pull a lap from that car and get back that provisional pole in the silver.
Certainly is very close going. Lewis was able to take Santo a few laps ago, and now will we see some sort of response from Lewis? Ibi Atta trying to do the very same. Remember, Ibi was on pole provisionally for a lap or so as well. The Sims and Riggs 5:05 coming through the final turn. This is looking like an improvement. Will it be enough to take provisional pole? It will be. A 26.740 puts them not only inside the top 5 overall, but pole with a very precious breathing room. That will lead to a reset for Ada as Santo comes across the line and retakes pole again.
That must this little stab inside there, Jesse. You know, you got first, and pulled out and really nice lap. Got first and silver next minute. Santo says, "Oh yeah, about that. I'm having that back."
Well, the track's improving, or the drivers are improving. The tire pressure, something is improving because the times continue to tumble, and you always expect that element in qualifying with the tires, or excuse me, just with the times in general improving. But this is hand over fist improvement. This leads to all the hallmarks of something going right on the racetrack. Ooh, almost going off the racetrack. In fact, is going off the racetrack in turn one. A car exiting the pit road. I believe that's the Sims and Riggs car. And look at this. This is
Oh,
Alexander
hello.
van der Wood, the Kvetch Motorsport 38. Lovely paint design on that car. I think we could all agree, and an interesting choice. Ladies and gentlemen, they're in the jet.
Oh yeah. No, I don't mind that they're at the back end of the field. They're taking a jag around Donington, and that's hard in itself to, you know, be up there in your class. You know, they're a silver driver driving a jag, and that's down in the AMs, and you know, you got to give it to them. They are still going around the track. Some people would have not tried today, but they have. So props to them.
Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the stylish as well in that jag.
Here's Rudy Fillmore, 10th at the minute overall. Can they improve on their time and get in the mix with their pro class? Not at the minute. It's quite surprising because Fillmore should be around, I would say, with Pimnot's time. They are two people who know each other very well, race with each other, drove in the same car with each other, I believe, in the World Tour Championship that we had going this year. So I'm expecting Fillmore to improve on his time, but we'll wait and see about that one. Just looking at Kenko, and they are really ahead of the Anfield today. Almost a whole second, Jesse. That is some pace.
Well, it was just a little bit ago. Kaneko was well and truly out in front of Am, but they're well and truly out in front of the most of the silver field now, and that Lamborghini certainly found something here tonight that nobody else is able to mimic, surely. 1 second off of the pro time to show you kind of what the pace differential could potentially be here tonight. Several other cars nearing the back of the grid, more than 3 or so seconds. I call those true AMs. That is sort of in the wheelhouse. An AM will be 2 to 4 seconds slower than an average pro car, and that's exactly what we're seeing here today. But Kaneko absolutely not subscribing to that logic. Santo, the leading silver car in the pit lane. They will still get an opportunity if they want to come back out and run more laps. Dario Barzaghi on the interim ran the third quickest lap, and they're only 7 1,000ths off a pole. You've got first, second, and third that are separated by 7 1,000ths, not 100ths, not 1/10ths, 1,000ths. That's a lot of zeros in front of that numeral.
A lot of zeros there is. Just looking, Kevin Boss. Oh, hello, car off track. Kevin Boss in that Nissan, second in AM at the minute. Go on, Kevin.
Kevin Boss, who we were just talking to, you can hear him various days here on the RCI TV network as a commentator. He's also an avid racer. He raced last night in the Friday Championship. He's racing in this as well. And I don't know, he didn't sound too happy or too excited about his potential prospects this evening, but he is in a GTR. It's a fan favorite car after all, and we'll see how he gets on throughout the evening. Could do with a little bit of good luck here tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do fine as always. Kevin Boss knows the Nissan very well by now. Seen him many times in Night Owl driving this thing, and drives it very well. I'd like to drive the Nissan like he can.
I
But
call him the boss man, and he's never told me to not call him that, and I just wonder how often in his lifetime he's been called that by other people.
I'd say
But,
quite a lot.
oh, here comes the boss man. Speaking of, interesting car choices, here's a 650 McLaren.
That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot compared to the normal 720 as we see here. It's got a different face on the front, and I quite like it.
Yeah, the 650 had its heyday in ACC, and of course, it was superseded by the 720S, a lovely machine in its own right, a favorite of many a ACC driver. But it is cool to see Clark in the 650. And I've just realized his team name is Clark Work, which is definitely not difficult to say.
He's watching the stream while driving, Jesse, giving us a little
He's
flash
definitely
right there.
listening. They're definitely listening.
Yeah, it's a very nice car you do have there, Kieran. So very nice to see. Seeing these old cars that people don't drive that much nowadays is very lovely to see. Oh, 38 going from 27th to 26 in that Jag. Very nice indeed.
Oh my goodness, what have we done? Leon Seeley continuing to try and take pole. He needs two 1000s, folks. Literally, just a tiny scrub of the tires is all it would take to gain that amount of time. Unfortunately for him, it's far easier to lose that amount of time. Flamker currently on pole. Seeley might have a lap to put him back on it, and he does. It's a 26.185, 4/100ths quicker than Timothy Flamger. That is just about enough to get it done. Leon Seeley back on pole. Flamger second, and now Barzaghi finds himself 47/100ths off of pole position, less than half a tenth for the top three. Still incredible.
A very close race today. Looking at Santos in fourth, and Gibby is in sixth at the minute of this, first and second in silver. And Omar in the 89 in ninth, which is third in silver. That's another driver that we haven't seen actually in the top three in Niall yet. It looks like a new
Yeah.
driver has joined the field. Very nice to see.
Ooh, Timothy Flamker not able to pick up anything on that lap. He'll stay 4/100ths off of the pole position as he's the first car to come across the line. Mentioned that Santo holds on to the top silver spot at a second in that class. Rolano now inside the top 10 in the 89. They have taken over the third spot for the time being. Lewis down to fourth. But what about Neil Pimlott, VR Racing in the 104 BMW? It is not an improvement, just about a tenth off of their quickest time. Rather unfortunate there, but still a nice top five spot for Neil Pimlott to start the day. Unfortunately, sandwiched between a couple of silver cars. Will try and make good work of them. Rolano abandons their lap into the pit lane. What does Clark have for the Clark Work car?
It went faster. Oh, sorry, I was taking the time. 29.102. They did go faster. Didn't move it in place though. They stayed in 28th place. Yeah, very good qualifying indeed. We got Seeley, Flamger, Bazagi first, second, and third for Pro. Santo, Atta, and Omar for fourth, fourth, sixth, and ninth overall. First, second, and third in silver. Obviously, Kenko flying away in AM, followed by Boston Low, first, second, and third in AM. Very nice qualifying, Jesse.
Very nice qualifying indeed. And of course, this is round 2 of 3. So we have some championship standings to show you. Ted Edwards, show us where we stand in the championship.
Well, after one round we had 2 weeks ago, here are the standings for the pro class. We have Joel Dolwer, the 34 in first, followed by Phil Morton, Will Stevenson, I haven't seen today, with 29 and 25 points, second and third. Flamgo, Razor, Pimlott, 4th, 5th, 6th, 23, 21, and 15 points between, for them three drivers there. Smith, Barzaghi, Seeley, and Curtin, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They have got 13, 11, 9, and 0 points. Quite a small pro field this season, but it's only a small season. And 11th to 13th have 0 points. Gonzalez, Solberg, and Lehman that we haven't seen at the moment. And then we've got Daly and Jelkin that don't have any points, have not taken part yet. Here for silver, we have Atta, Ramos, and Alexander Van Wold with first, second, and third. 37 points for Atta, followed by the 29 and the 25 of Ramos and Alex. It's very close. The Jag in third. Very nice by Alex for that one. Santo in fourth with 21. 18 to Paulo in fifth. Sixth is David Lewis with 15. Joint with Pau Gadja in for sixth place as well with 15. So that's a nice little battle going on there in silver class. Klinsky, Carlisle, and Omar Rinaldo in 8th, 9th, and 10th. 11, 9, and 7 points. It's so nice and close. Obviously, only one round been, so only one set of points been handed out. Then we've got Pusina, Agilello, and Kieran, 11th, 12th, and 13th. 5, 4, and 3. And Clark, 5th, and Herbert, 14th, 15th, 16th. No points to them. They haven't scored any, unfortunately. And all the rest of the drivers don't have any points. Very nice and close in that silver class. On to the AM class. Let's see how close these guys are. We have lost the AM.
They're in there somewhere. The AM standings, absolutely in there. Just as we try to pull that up here, of course, we are always reading chat here at RCI TV. And of course, got some nice messages. Stephen in chat saying that this is my kind of race where smoothness, consistency, and keeping clean will net you points. Good news for you, Stephen. I think that works everywhere, but rhythm racetracks is what he's talking about, and he's absolutely right. Donington Park is a rhythm racetrack. It's a beautiful circuit for that. He who has rhythm and repetition will succeed here, even if you're a little bit slower. It's so easy to be thrown off of your game at a racetrack like this. Joe Dauber, though, in the race today, has a message specifically for Ted Edwards. Where's the rain?
I don't know. I didn't really want it to rain too much. I said we're gonna give them an easy time, seeing as it is the Crimbo season. But yeah, they have seen the rain a few times, and apparently they're sad about the rain, which is surprising, Jesse.
Well, it's Britain, it's expected, etc., and so forth, and it hasn't happened. Just very quickly, AM class looks a little something like this. Cody Watkinson leads the way on 39 points. Stephen Miller on 29. Both those Canadians at the top of the AM class. Kevin Boss, the boss man, in third place, 25 points. Masatoshi Kaneko, 21 points, and Matthew on 18. Domenico outside the top 5 with 15. Nobody else has points thus far. And outside of the top 10, everyone has retired from the championship. Drivers that don't have points that are still involved is Twice Low, Rodriguez, and Clark. We apologize for the error on screen. We could not bring those up, but there you have it. Those are your standings. AM standings a little bit shy today, Ted. Moving right along to the race, it's just like Steven said, it's a rhythm racetrack, and he who plays it somewhat safe around here usually wins. A lot of very quick speed. The chicane. Let's all pause for but a brief moment to see if the tire bale makes it through the pace lap. I have better than good odds it won't.
I fear someone had pulled my mic out of its socket. Yeah, you were saying about the AM class being a bit small. That is true. So is the Pro class, unfortunately. But what isn't small is that Silver class. Got a big old fight going on between quite a few drivers. And like I said, David Lewis and Paul Gadja, the 14 and the 924, both on 15 points each. So that was obviously fastest lap or pole position from the last race, which made them joint on points.
It's very close. It's been close with these drivers in the past. We don't imagine it being any different today. Ted Edwards, take us away.
Here we see Seeley coming up to the start finish line. The green flag will drop any second. Now here we go, racing into T1. Let's see if we get a 3 wide. Normally do towards the back end of the field. That Lexus looking for the inside line. It gets it on the little contact there. Dario Barzaghi touching that Mercedes, and it goes back. Oh, Ferrari goes sideways and hits another car. I think that's the SNS car that. Might be Dolber that, yeah it is. It's Joe Dolber was getting a little bit loose on that rear end. God knows how, and there's another car off as well, so stewards definitely be looking into that one very, very closely. I'm not sure what happened, but we saw that yellow Ferrari sideways and make contact. That is a shame. And also, if eagle-eyed viewers would have seen that 38 did start from pit lane for some reason. Yeah, so a little bit of contact there, Jesse. Already, it's looking like a good race.
And there it goes.
And it's gone.
Lap 1 into the Fogarty S's. The tire bale is gone, kicked aside by your leader of the race. Dario Barzaghi says, "Get that out of here. We don't have time for any tire bales." And what was more impressive about that, he did that single file. He wasn't even battling anybody. Seeley in second place, just right behind him. And of course, we saw the Joe Dauber incident. Realistically, where that occurred on the track with it switching back the way it was, that could have been a lot worse. Dauber, of course, seemed to get the worst of that. They ejected off of the racetrack and into the outside barrier in an awkward way, too, backwards. I don't often see that. So, Ted Edwards, I'd watch yourself in the parking lot tonight, because he's coming for you.
You can see 31st place is Alexander in the Jag. Has got to stop and go 30 for speeding in pit lane. Started from pit lane and obviously accidentally shifted up, took off that pit limiter, I'm going to guess, and sped. So that race has already started off pretty bad, unfortunately.
Hold on a minute, Ted. I think I can make this okay. I know the stewards are... Well, actually, they're probably not, because they're very busy, but my plea to the stewards, if they are listening, would you mind forgiving his stop-and-go speeding penalty? As you see, he was in a...
I think it's going to be quite hard, Jesse, as he might be serving it right now.
Serving a speeding penalty in a Jag. That would be the first time a Jag owner has ever admitted fault for anything.
Moving on. Santos up in P3 overall. First and silver. Got a nice start on that first lap, getting not hit by a sliding yellow banana Ferrari. Done very well in the M4, followed by another M4 and a Honda. Oliver Curtin taking that Honda. We don't really see many of them nowadays, but I see it's going strong. Yeah, not so bad start, Jesse, at the moment.
After, turn 2 and 3 was a bit messy, obviously, but after that, they kind of got it all together. You know, just looking at something, and I was thinking about the entry into Redgate, turn number 1, and that might look quite odd to some people that are not quite accustomed to racing around here. You'll see the field will completely cut into pit out to gain that extra little bit of turn in that they need for turn number 1. And that may look awkward to some that are uninitiated, but yeah, that is the line through turn number 1. You go all the way over into pit lane. Now, the reason I bring that up more than anything is there are some ridiculous pit requirements tonight, which we'll go to Ted Edwards for in a moment. But when they eventually make their pit stops, the field's going to get completely jumbled up, and going over into pit out is going to be a dangerous proposition. Now, on the subject of pit stops, it is night owl. No matter what time of year it is, there's always random pit requirements. So it makes night owl night owl. Ted Edwards, what are the random pit requirements for tonight's race?
Well, as we all know, we've got to have a stupid pit requirement for one race, even though it is the Crimbo season. I'm being nice, but this time today, I thought I'd make it a little bit weird. We've got 2 mandatory pit stops that both involve a tyre change. So, you know, they're going to have 3 sets of tyres during this race. A litre of fuel at both stops, so that's 2 litres overall, and it's a 57-minute pit window. As we see, pit window is open already, so drivers can, if they would like, serve one of their mandatory pit stops, which obviously you see Joe Dolber on 30th place has done one and has one remaining. So does mean he has to go on tyres for longer than some of the other drivers.
Excellent analysis there. 2 pit stops. It's not uncommon that we have that in a season, but again, in a small season, I think our car got backwards right there. And if it didn't, it got very, oh, it did. I think it was the 877. That's Domenico, the Team Ballas, the second Team Ballas car, I'm pretty sure. Got all out of sorts up on the back of some of the other cars, but continues without a full spin. Good for them. And already the leaders considering lap traffic here as they continue to battle amongst themselves. I paused for a moment because I saw Leon Seeley take Barzaghi for the lead.
Oh, and quite a big lead as well. I was looking at Flamga with the Speed Juice fastest lap at the moment in that Mercedes, which you don't really see often these days taking the fastest laps, but obviously these guys at the front are fighting. Flamga did get hit earlier on by Dolber, who decided to go backwards in the end, but just looking at a penalty that came in during qualifying, involved the 14 use of in-game chat as well. So that's 2 cars now, the 38 and the 14 have both had a warning for using in-game chat. So that's the qualifying ones out of the way. We don't have any race ones at this moment in time, but pretty sure we'll get some. Alpha will shove a note through the door and probably chuck a hammer through the door as well at the same time. Probably aimed at me.
Yeah, but the hammer's aimed at me most likely. But I will say, I saw Seeley take the lead, and what took me aback for a second was that timing and scoring didn't update. Not the scoring on the pylon on the left, but the actual relative never updated. It took it a good, 10 seconds, I would say, before it finally recognized the driver from Barbados as leader of the race, and I was quite perplexed on what had occurred, because normally it's instantaneous when that happens, and it definitely wasn't that time. Absolutely messed me up. Nothing's worse to a broadcaster, folks at home, whenever you expect something to happen, and then it doesn't, and then you just don't know. It's like trying to find a light in the dark, I promise you that. Callum Kerrigan trying to make a pass and just about might get it done. No, side by side with Agadello for position in silver. Agadello covers them off. Callum will have to try to the inside, completely wide. The BMW goes, and that might be position surrendered as Kerrigan goes through. Wan Party Racing is going to try and do the long way here, but I think it might still be the BMW down the inside as they go side by side through Redgate. Now the inside position is where you want to be, and somehow, some way, the BMW has defended that position, but not done yet as Callum Kerrigan continues down into the old hairpin and just about made that work too wide, but the power of the BMW a little bit too much. That was nearly, folks, half a lap of side-by-side racing.
Yeah, don't forget about Adam. He's coming up behind the 720 now. Obviously, Aston pretty fast in the straight line. 720 not so fast in the straight line. It's all about the corners for that car and grip it can produce. And yeah, the Beamer just got so much power in the straight line, just blitzes the way. But here comes Kevin Boss, second in Am. He wants to have a little fight and try and get some time back on that 748 Lamborghini. Kenko just, as I said in qualifying, walking away with it. But that's qualifying. This is the race. It's all about the race pace now and deciding when you do your 2 pit stops. We'll have to see what drivers do, as we see Seeley has taken back Speed Juice fastest lap with a 1:26.522 by a 10th faster than Dario's fastest time at this moment in time. So only 2 cars in the 26s. Oh, I lie. Santo is in the 26s as well, not far behind. So Santo's stretching their legs as well.
Leon Seeley, the driver from Barbados, we're still waiting on his first maiden win in the pro category, any pro category here at RCI. He's had several opportunities in different championships, including right here on Night Owl 2 weeks ago, was leading the race, had a disconnection. It all came undone. We were told they'd have a penalty anyway. There was contact that happened prior to the disconnect, but still, it has been so very close, yet so very far. a Juna Savalainen situation, if you will. Savalainen tried to win a Friday champ for many seasons and finally was able to do that. And of course, it was a long road to the first win as well. Seeley in the same position, but again finds himself in the
Oh,
best spot. Oh, a little bit wide
oh.
there from Lewis. Lewis is going to give up that spot to Ada as they will take it over. BMW on BMW here into the hairpin. And everybody has to get single file. Did he leave it a little bit too wide? No, he didn't. Covered off very nicely. Ada up a position on Lewis.
Oh,
Oh, baby, chrome horn.
I was about to say it's all nice and clean in this little 6-car, 5-car fight as one car pulls off into the pit lane. That is the 69. Very nice Lamborghini that pulls in to get out of the fighting, I would say. But yeah, this is a fight for third. If you're all wondering.
Oh, BMW's off the racetrack. Okay,
yeah.
you got it. That is so hard to pull that car back on the track without causing further incident to yourself.
Yeah, that grass pulls you out really wide. It's horrible. That's why you don't touch the grass, Jesse. But and touching more grass. The Lewis is just getting a little bit too wild, I would say. Not really keeping the car on the track, getting the corners perfect or near perfect. Going too hard, trying to take the corners too quickly. We just keep going wide and they keep losing time and positions. We've lost one now. We've lost the fight to the 505 and sitting behind the 22nd. Now I've got 6 right behind them, and that's not what you really want. You don't want the pressure. As we see Santo giving Barzaghi a bit of pressure. Silver on a pro, eh, Jesse? This is what we like to see.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because Dario doesn't want to. Leon Seeley is checking out. I think we can all say Leon's up the road. And Barzaghi doesn't want to lose any more time. And Barzaghi is not sympathetic to Santos's plight here. And even if he was, he would see that there are, what was that, about a 10, 12, 15-second gap, something like that, back to the next silver car. And if you are Santo, you have to be aware of that yourself of, okay, I'm quicker than the second place car, but I also have to be very respectful of her, and vice versa too. Barzaghi doesn't need to make this situation any worse than it is. If Santo gets a nose in there, maybe just let him go. And again, if you are Santo, maybe you don't pressure Barzaghi quite as hard, but you know, racers will be racers and they're going to race it out no matter what their number placard indicates.
Yeah, it's quite surprising that Barzaghi's getting pressured by Santo. Wouldn't have thought that would happen. Would have thought Pimlott would have been the one that would be doing the pressure. They're just sitting there watching. Santo has got past Barzaghi. I just realised that. Second place. Look at them. Look at them go. Good job. And I believe that was on a straight as well. So very nice indeed. And Pimlott's now breathing down Barzaghi. I wonder what's happened to Barzaghi. As we know, very quick driver. Definitely up there every race. Is it just the Lexus on this track is not as good as obviously the 2 M4s that they are fighting with?
Second place to Danny Santo, the SRI. I knew I was going to screw that up at some point. Esports BMW. It's quite close to another acronym that I use all the time. Can't remember which one exactly, but the SR Esports car out in P2 and way out in front in their class. Masatoshi Kaneko leading in the AM class over Kevin Boss. It's 7 seconds, or more aptly, 6.9 seconds to gap in the AM class. 3 seconds behind Boss is that car there, but there's been a huge accident here coming out of Goddard's.
Dear, the 944, I think was the one that was sideways in Goddard's, and not what you want to see when you come around that corner as a car sideways. It's pretty blind when you go around there. So yeah, it's not fun to see, but at least they're back going again. And yeah, just looking at first, second, third, and AM, and they seem close, but they're not. 7 seconds difference. I think you've just said that already, and then 3.5 to Miller from Boss, and I think that's just because Silvers have pitted. So we'll just have to see if Boss can get some time back. I'll keep an eye on that one, because I want to see if he can stretch the legs of the Nissan and catch up with the Lamborghini.
Well, of course, we are checking in with chat. Farargo says, always rooting for my GTR mate back in AM. Smiley face. GTR for life. I can, Garrett, I'm with you. I'm all aboard on both of those sentiments. Blank has said based 650. Um, as an older individual, I probably shouldn't know what that means, but I do.
Now, see, there is some penalties being dished out, Jesse Lee. You want to have a little look at them?
Well, let's take a look at the penalties. We already told you about the qualifying incidents of using in-game chat. Well, let's talk about the race. Lap 1, turn 1 between car 8 and 19, 5-second penalty to car 8 for pushing the 19 off the track. Same turn, same lap incident between the 777, the 89, and the 505. A warning for 777 for avoidable contact. Lap 1, turn 3 between the 6 and the 944. No further action. Avoidable contact taking themselves out deemed there. Lap 2, turn 10, 89 and the 99 racing incident. Lap 3, turn 10, 505 and 22 racing incident minor contact. Lap 4, turn 4, 944 and 877, no further action. Avoidable contact, but they took themselves out. Self-clearing or self-penalizing incident. I think we could agree. Lap 7, turn 1 between the 14 and the 505. Warning for car 505 causing avoidable contact with the 14. Lap 7, turn 11 between the 505 and the 14 again. I believe this is the same incident, but an additional warning this time to car 14 for avoidable contact. It is a 5-second penalty because that was their second warning of the race. And in fact, it was. So a 5-second penalty for 2 warnings for car 14.
David Lewis sitting in third and silver at the minute. That's definitely not what you want. And, you got the 22 sat 1.4 seconds behind you. And they're thinking, well, this is going to be a bit easy now. We're just going to sit behind the 14 and not really hurt my tyres as much or whatever. Oh, Callum Kerrigan going a bit sideways in the old hairpin there. Definitely not what you want to do. But at least you got 2 more tyre sets to use. I guess that's the bonus. But yeah, the 14 will be definitely under a lot of pressure now. And see Joe Dolber making his way back through the field after the little spin he did on the first lap. That's got to be disheartening, Jesse. You made that mistake right at the beginning, and you've lost a lot of time. Obviously, they've done a pit stop as well, so they've lost a lot of time compared to the front runners.
Yeah, well, in Dauber's sort of defense, I guess, is that they're a very quick driver. They know what they're capable of doing. It is a little unfortunate, obviously, get that accident, but the bright side is you've got one of your pit stops out of the way. You are in front of some of the cars, so you're not at the very back of the grid. You've only got one more stop, and you're quick. If you're Joe, you know what your car is capable of. It's a top 10 car at very least, and you never know. He could get all the way back up there, but still, it will be frustrating no matter what. But the only thing worse than having a horrible start like Dauber did is making it worse by doing something that further frustrates you, having another accident, quitting, for instance, anything like that. That'll only compound the issue. The only remedy to what happened to the 777, continue climbing that leaderboard.
Yeah, and you got to think as well, they're 8th in pro at the minute. They are last in the pro field, but it is top 15 points. So at the end of the day, they are still going to get some points in there, and they're leading the pro field in the points at the minute, 34 to Phil Morton's 29. Obviously, Phil Morton's down there as well in 7th place. So it's or 6th place or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, they're not getting as many points. The same with Flamger, who's sitting in 4th in the champ. So there's still points in there, and still got 40 minutes. Maybe be able to catch up with those two and fight them for a few points.
Certainly the case. You never know where you're going to end up. So many cars having issues early on in a race. Some self-inflicted, some are accidents. Others, of course, just pit strategy and issues on the pit road, mind you. All of that can add up really quickly. You can't give up especially in a race like this. I see a drive-through for the 341 or 391 rather, and I have that lap 9 incident involving car 944 and 391. Drive-through awarded to car 391 for a dive bomb takeout, position not returned.
Yikes! That is yeah. If you return that position, it's definitely a 15-second penalty for not returning it or lifting off the throttle or whatever to show that you want to give it back, but maybe you can't. Is another thing, and yeah, drive through it is, and falling down the order. Obviously, that's going to now be 3 pit stops you got to do. One where you sit in, one where you drive through the pit lane and wave to your pit crew, and they're wondering, or like, what are you doing? And then you got to serve 2 more to do the mandatory pits. So that's going to be very frustrating. So we're on board with Flamger fighting Gilmore and Pimlott. Pimlott's dropped quite back. Unless these two have caught right up, who knows? It's all a bit higgledy-piggledy right now, Jesse Lee, with all the pit stops happening.
Well, yeah, all these cars have done one of their 2 required pit stops. That's what the amber number is on the scoring pylon. If it has a 2, they have 2 stops left. If it is 1, they only have the 1, and obviously if it's green, they are good to the finish. The 14 car has just got a 5-second penalty. That can only mean one thing, surely, but I'll wait for it to come in before confirming, but really confident that is something to do with a steward's decision. Barzaghi's got a 5-second penalty as well. It's all popping up here inside the top 5 all of a sudden.
Just seeing the number 4 and 27th, number 4 in M class, Carlos Rodriguez getting a stop and go 30, and that would be speeding in the pit lane. So we've seen 2 of them today, which is unfortunate. Oh, Santo gets the run on the driver. Very nice, very nice.
Crazy close racing. This place breeds that kind of competition. You sort of pair off a lot here and get locked into these dogfight-esque battles. See, I related it to British history. Get it? Dogfights, Battle of Britain. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, I'm with you here. Danny Santo continuing to lead the cars that have come down pit lane. That includes all of the cars, not just in his class. He's in front of all the pro cars that have pitted as well. An interesting early pit stop. I don't hate that. Probably pit again either at halfway or in the final third. Probably final third, depending on or considering where they've come. But now they're continuing to work lap traffic. This car in front of Santo, not for position. This is the Jag. The Jag will oblige into Goddard's. Well, not fully oblige, as one car off in the background as well.
So not sure where that Lexus is going. I think it's going to Ryan Gill's temporary grave that I made for him back many races ago.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, but what can I say?
He's still here with us. Don't worry.
In spirit.
You said it.
I will admit publicly, I saw Ryan Gill racing at Bathurst earlier today, and the stream I was watching him race on shut down, so I just assumed he had crashed the car.
Oh no. Poor Ryan Gill.
He didn't. In his defense.
Oh, he didn't.
In my defense, he did. But also in his defense, he didn't.
Yeah, Ryan Gill, lovely admin over here at RCI. He is a Lamborghini lover.
Oh, that's a double L's. I like it. Lamborghini lover. He is. Yeah. He loves Lamborghini. He's got posters. He believes in Lamborghini supremacy. I wholeheartedly disagree. Ooh. But never the mind. This is the 877, by the way. I believe I saw the 877 go wide into Goddard's completely on their own, and that has led to this particular situation. Timothy Flamger trying to get that spot away from them.
Flamger's getting a little bit annoyed and frustrated because Fillmore is just running away now. 877 doesn't have to move. It is fight for overall position, even though oh no, Flamger is one pit stop ahead, if you like. The 877 hasn't served one pit stop yet, which I'm just quite surprised. They're getting swamped by faster cars, and Yeah, Flamger had that contact going through Goddard's there, so to see what Stu will say about that one, see which car is at fault as the 505 makes their way past really easy. Yeah, if I was at 877, I would have gone for a pit. I'm not sure if they know it's 2 pit stops. I hope they do, because that would not be fun.
By the way, just a correction of something I said earlier. We already know where the 5-second penalties from the 8 and the 14 came from. Those were very early on accidents. I just had forgotten who was in what number at the time. So those penalties are accounted for and were read out earlier on in the broadcast. I apologize for being a bit slow this evening. Omar Rolano trying to make a spot, and a huge move. Joe Dahlber might leave himself a little susceptible to a cutback here, but no, the Ferrari will pull out in front of the Lamborghini, and that's job done, as Masatoshi Kaneko cannot do anything but watch from that position as Dahlber continues to try and claw some of that ground back and is making pretty good time doing so. Here is Omar Rolano, the SRI Esports BMW. Oh no! Oh my goodness, the Lexus goes big. The ballless car. Was that contact that led to that? That was incredible. I have never seen a car do that that didn't have locked up brakes, but I don't think you can do that on these cars. Oh, that was contact.
Yeah, I looked away for a second, Jesse, and I see Alexis sliding through Gollards. It's like what I did to Ryan Gill.
I was just going to say. Does that remind you of anything, Tim?
Yeah. For me, it's fine. For Ryan Gill, it probably gets loads of bad flashbacks, but it's fine. But yeah, that was very heavy contact. Stewart's not going to like that. I was just looking at some penalties that have come through, Jesse. Lap 12, 10, 11 involving the 944, 391. Warning for the 944. Excessive dive bomb on the 391. Only a warning though. Lap 12, 10, 11 involving both cars. Again, 5 seconds for the 944. Overtakes the 391 with contact as a result of an excessive dive bomb, so they do get a penalty for the contact there. That 14 involving the 944 and the 4, 15 seconds for car 944. Severe avoidable contact. Now, I did get told from Alpha just a minute ago that the 4 got punted over the line. They were the ones that got the stop and go 30 in the pit lane for speeding, so I think they got punted into the pit lane and got a penalty from it. I have seen that happen before.
Yeah.
And it is the worst. Just saying it plain, because that is something you can't avoid, and you're the one who gets a penalty for it. So
that's absolutely horrible. Yeah, I've seen that happen in a professional esports setting, Ted. I was in the box and I saw that happen. Everybody was shocked at what they were looking at, and if that is what happened, which I believe is 100% correct.
Alpha just confirmed it. That is what happened.
That's the third or fourth time I have seen that happen here in ACC. Again, if you're turning, because Goddard's, you're still turning left, you're coming off the corner, and if you're battling somebody, they can scoop you and send you down pit lane, and you don't have, your car's not under control, and ACC does not care if you mean to come down pit road or not. It's going to start timing you.
But this is why we have our lovely stewards. Unfortunately, the 4 served that. I think they served the stop and go. I could be wrong. They may have had it taken off them by the stewards, and obviously the 944 has that 15, which is now a 20-second penalty. But at least we have the stewards here live to sort it out. Whereas normally, if we didn't, then it would be after the race, and that's already happened, and the 4 would have got really shafted, as we like to say over here. But this is why we have stewards, live stewards. They are the best.
They really are excellent, eagle-eyed stewards as the 650 is going to go off the racetrack there.
New line.
Into the Fogarty S's. Yeah, new line to the Fogarty. It's not new. They've been using that for years here.
True.
We would only need to attend the touring car weekend here to see that line.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that many times with touring cars. They don't care.
They really don't. Touring cars probably give the least amount of care of any race car, but a GT car can go through there as well. That also, by the way, we're laughing about it. We shouldn't be. That is likely a track limits warning for the 650.
Yeah, they didn't look like they slowed down that whatsoever, and I wouldn't. I'd just keep my foot going. Um, to be honest, it's a horrible chicane to try and slow down and get it back going again, and you can easily create a big accident. But they kept that going in a straight line, so lovely.
Closing in on the halfway point. In fact, almost exactly at the halfway point. 2 pit stops required by everyone. The majority of the field have taken their first one, and we should see in the final third of the race, the majority take their second one. Of course, a couple of drivers who have had a spot of bother tonight have already done that. Dos Ramos, in fact, in the 69 has made
Nice.
short work of his 2 pit stops, and he's going to be fine till the end of this race. That Lamborghini looks very nice setup for the end of this thing. Guida in the 924 pits out of 6th place. That will fulfill. Actually, no, that was just their first stop. Yeah, that was their first stop. Dario Barzaghi, one of the last cars to complete their first stop here today. And of course, they will be stationary an additional 5 seconds because of that penalty.
Talk about penalties. We have one more NFA between the 69 and the 46 on that 14 minor contact. And just looking, Jesse, the guy who's sitting in 4th, technically 3rd, because obviously Miller hasn't served one of their 2 pit stops yet. Sabto, it's got the speed juice fastest lap. Very
Sure
well
does.
done. Yeah, that's what I like to see. I like to see these new upcoming drivers that are in the lower classes fighting the higher class and show them, hey, you know, I'm a little bit faster now, and I can keep up with you guys, and I can take away your fastest laps anytime I like.
You only get better at anything. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Doesn't matter if it's an e-sport versus a real one. None of that's relevant. The only thing that is relevant is the only way you get better at a sport is by playing with people that are as good or better than you are. That's how you hone your skills. That's how you get better at stuff. So having 3 different classes in the same race is brilliant because you get an excellent slice of competency and pace, and you just make each other better. If you're a pro driver and you're racing against other pros, that's fine. You're still making yourself better because you're measuring off against somebody who is equal or better than you still, because not all pros are created equal. And of course, if you are a silver and am, you know, you are learning all of the time. And we've seen those Cinderella stories of a driver coming into RCI comps. They start off in AM, they've ended up in pro. It happens. All you need is the time, dedication, and the willingness to learn. And again, nothing in the rules say that an AM cannot beat a pro driver or a silver cannot run the quickest lap.
Yeah, I still say to this day that I thank Mike Jones a hell of a lot back in the day when we used to run a night out with 2 full splits. So we had pro, high silver, and low silver, and AM, and I was always in AM. Did move up to low silver, but it's always in split 2. And then he just turned around one day to a few of us and said, you know what, I'm just going to move you straight into the top split. Now you race there. And yeah, I have definitely got a lot faster. Driving with faster people does make you faster, but you gotta know the game. You gotta know the cars first. That's the big thing I always say to people is you need to understand how like the physics work or how the car works or what you're doing wrong, and then that's when you can look at, okay, let's have a look at lap times. Let's look at my pace, and yeah, it's just like you say, Jesse, just gotta keep going at it.
Yes, indeed. And we see the 89 with a drive-through penalty. Ted Edwards, do you have anything on Rolano's penalty?
Oh yeah, I have 2 penalties with that car number. Lap 17, turn 11 involving the 877 and the 19. NFA, 19 avoidable contact, however loses position, so NFA. Lap 18, turn 11. Same corner, next lap. The 877 and the 89 drive-through. Sorry, It's the 877 that's what place. The drive-through for car 89 takeout position not return. So that is very unfortunate. And yeah, the 877 all the way down. Oh, that's the car that's holding everyone up. So yes, I think that's the one that we saw the M4 take him through Goddard's, if I'm right, Jesse.
Yeah, it was very close. A day coming unraveled for the 877 and now the 89 having their issues. A lot of penalties on there.
Yeah,
Agadello has a stop and
Yeah.
go 30. That can only mean one thing. They were speeding in the pit lane, and I don't suspect they were sent down pit lane like a car earlier. I believe that was just a not hitting the limiter button.
Yeah, a few penalties coming out. Still 25 minutes left, Jesse. This race feels like it's gone on for a few hours. This feels like an enduro at Donny, and I do like an enduro at Donington, to be fair. But maybe next year we could sneak a one-off in. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Not far now, Jesse.
Little bit of foreshadowing by Ted Edwards there. I think maybe a little bit of that.
Wait, it's not far, is it? We're what's it?
Certainly
First week
not.
into December. Oh well, not even a full week really into December, are we? We're third day in. Are you in the Christmas spirit? Or are you,
I am.
easing
I,
into, are you
no,
full swing or are you
absolutely.
easing?
No, it's full swing. It happens
Full
at the
swing.
end of November. I think it becomes. We have a debate about when Christmas starts in this house, but largely accepted that after the American Thanksgiving, that evening, in fact, or that next day, that's when the Christmas season starts. So you get just about almost exactly a full month of Christmas stuff, and then on December 26th, which is your Boxing Day, I'm through with it, but I know a lot of people, they carry that into the new year. For me, different holiday, you celebrate it differently, but absolutely, I've got the Santa hat out, and I've got the lights all put up, and there's decorations. I've destroyed my entire living room with fake snow.
Oh no! Is it bad or is it?
Admittedly, I didn't understand what was in the package when I opened it.
Typical Jesse.
And I got asked, "Why did you do that?" As if I meant to.
Oh yeah, we've bombed out this little room I'm in now with some tinsel, some lights. It's all nice.
Oh yes.
Nice and nice. The living room's all decked out with everything we have. I'm wearing my Christmas socks, my Christmas jumper, and my Christmas t-shirt. So yeah, I'm pretty in the Christmas spirit.
It's Ted's favorite time of the year. If you haven't
It is.
noticed,
I love it. It's I think it's the best time of year. Yes, it's cold and it can get a bit miserable over here in the UK, but just put more clothes on. That's how it goes.
I know some people, and it doesn't matter what holiday you affiliate or celebrate this time of year. Some people are a bit grumpy about the whole thing,
Tom Bryan.
and I was purposely not naming names, but
Oh, I'm
you know,
named.
it is what it is, and I don't understand. I don't understand that. Like, all I want is the holiday to arrive in a timely manner and end on time. What happens in the interim is rather by the by. Mariah Carey, though, that's a whole different thing. I might be a little bit of a Scrooge with Mariah Carey. Not the biggest fan.
I haven't heard that song in the shops yet.
Do you know what?
Now,
I haven't. I heard something that I thought was All I Want for Christmas,
there's been a lot of remixes.
but it wasn't.
Because I think it's cheaper to, it's cheaper on
Oh.
licensing. I think a lot of shops have decided that, let's just go the cheap route. People still like Christmas. It's still Christmas, which is fair. It's different. People aren't going to get annoyed, especially the workers that, them poor souls that have to listen to the music day in, day out, and put up with us customers that don't know what we're doing, or what we want to buy. Yeah, Christmas is a nice time of the year. And I'm the
Ryan
same.
Lawson, our broadcaster, would like to point out that he is not a Scrooge. He is not a bah humbug individual. The reason he has not decorated anything for the Christmas or the holiday season is simply because it's just him, and he will go to families for that sort of experience. But making it very plain, he is not against the holiday season.
That is by far fair. Wait, is that the old
Yeah.
Porsche? It is.
Oh my goodness, it is the
Miller.
old Porsche as
Miller
well.
always brings out the old Porsche for these small championships. I totally forgot Miller was here.
It's basically a holiday tradition at this point for the Tenacious Tortoise team to drive something like this. Look at the wang on that.
Look at the bumpers. Now that's how I knew. Was that like I thought from the rear, like, oh, that looks a bit different, but the front you can tell if you have seen the other Porsche. Oh, I wonder where that car was going. Going into pit lane. Yeah, as I was saying, you can tell by the front on the Porsches. If you've seen the other ones in the game, they are a little bit different. Yes, every Porsche looks the same from the shell, but actually you can tell a difference on a race car due to all the different holes and fins it has through the different years. Yeah.
I have a blistering development, Ted.
Yeah.
Katrina, who you may know.
I know very well. Yep.
Yeah. She is wrapping your present right now because you're chained to this desk, and this is the only time she can do it.
Yep. And I'm going to ignore her now for the rest of the night, because that's not fair.
Me thinks there was a no gifts policy in the Edwards household. Yeah.
She told me off. I brought too many presents.
Oh, I see. Well,
so now she's annoyed
here
at me.
Comes a move. Stephen Miller trying to go around the inside. Got a better run than Boss. This is for P2 in the AM class. The old Porsche versus the GTR. It's like its original launch day for ACC, but it's going to be won by the Tenacious Tortoise team as Miller able to take P2 away.
Very nice move into the Melbourne Open right there from Miller, the person we almost forgot about, and turns up with this lovely Porsche. Yes, very nice move. It's a shame that we don't have a new GTR. I think that should be our Christmas present from Kunos, or the real world as well. You know, get a Nissan back in the GT3 racing scene would be lovely. See, Oliver Curtin and Dolber has made up them places from earlier on. Them two have both completed both pit stops with 18 minutes to go. So I think a lot of people would have done them in 2 sets of 20. Do your first one 20 minutes in and the second one with 20 minutes to go. A few people haven't, surprisingly, but maybe they're just a tiny bit off sync from fighting with other cars. I almost forgot there was a race on, Jesse. We're talking about Christmas.
Yeah, welcome. That was the RCI podcast. That was the Christmas edition. It's only going to get worse, folks. 2 weeks' time for the finale. It's going to be even worse, I'm afraid. As it gets closer to the season, you get a little bit more jolly around here. At least Ted and I do.
Get a bit more whiskey in your system, maybe.
That's not what I said. Rudy Phil Malter able to get a spot away, and of course that's not for position in class, but it's a position and a move needed to be made on Kevin Voss to get back up into contact with the rest of the cars. Can't lose time here. Can Phil Malter? Can he really? He's done all of his pit stops and needs to make this as smooth and as quick a lap as possible. That includes a very speedy but also very clean pass. Joe Dalbert doing the very same. The Santas are harder to kidnap team.
What?
Yeah, I'm changing the meta. Don't worry about me. 777 working on the 14. Lewis holds strong around the outside of Goddard, doesn't let him through that time. And now Dauber will know what he's up against. Dauber up against a car that will not just let him go. A little bit wide, though, from the 14, exceedingly so. Dauber down the inside should just about get this done before they make it to the old hairpin, but they're not because the BMW is incredibly strong. Old hairpin time too wide can go wrong. They sort it out before they get to the bottom, and Joe Dauber up another spot. It was a inauspicious start, admittedly, but it's trending in the right direction. Pit stop's done, no further penalties, and almost back inside the top 10 now.
Yeah, Dauber showing, you know, can have a massive spin at the beginning and go for an really early pit stop.
It was a big crash too. Remember, he was hard into the barrier.
Yeah, very. It was a little bit of drift to the left and a little bit of snap to the right, and drift to the right and snap to the left. I will get it right. But yeah, it was pretty heavy, and yeah, just shows that Dolber is a very good driver, and you know, when they put the mind to it, they can do anything. They've only got a few cars left. To see Miller, Damian Lowe, and the 877 have all got a pit stop to do. 740. Kenko still got first and Am still got to do one of theirs. The 924 has got both of theirs to do.
Now that's interesting.
I how
Well, here's
you
the
might
thing.
want to pit.
Gaida can come in now and then come in on the penultimate
Yeah.
lap.
Yeah.
The penultimate lap, and satisfy that requirement. Now we don't usually see that because you're really losing time because you're too slow for too long.
Yeah.
So we don't usually see that, but an interesting strategy. I just hope that Gaida knows there are 2 pit stops. I mean, they have a box on their screen that we can't see, folks. That that they can see how many, what they have to do. So hopefully they're paying attention.
Yeah, you get a few warnings before you press drive on the starting grid. You get told that what the requirements are, and should be a box in the bottom left. And if you ain't got that, then on the timing board, like we see here, they'll have a smaller one. They will have their name with the 1 or a 2 or a green. And so, there's a Honda off there.
That's Olivia Kierton. They're going to lose several positions.
I've done that before, Jesse. My wheel came off the desk and I went that way in a Honda.
My goodness. That sounds absolutely frightening.
Yeah, it was fine. It was planned.
I somehow doubt it was. Kierton losing 2 spots in the process of all of that. And of course, one of those was for position. Joe Dauber's day, that started off terrible, is starting to go good again. Gets at least 1, probably in that position, 2 additional points that they would otherwise not have had. If they keep their pace up, Dauber, that is, in the 777 Ferrari, they're going to have a shot on John Razor in the 699 by the end of the race. It's unlikely they'll get any more, but still, we're talking about what, 4th, 5th, 6th place in class. That is a excellent rebound as Leon Seeley out of the lead and into the pit lane, and now out of the pit lane, completing their final pit stop. They are good to go. Barzaghi retakes the lead for the time being, but has a pit stop to give. Masatoshi Kaneko comes into the pit lane as well, the leading AM driver, and will come to the attention of their team for the final pit stop of the day. And Parapato as well in the 877 has a pit stop left.
I just noticed, Jesse, we have a Night Owl celebrity in chat. Was it 2 or 3-time world champion Harry Conway, also known as Buddy Stone, is in the chat, has joined us on the 3rd of December. Bit of Night Owl champion. Hasn't drove Night Owl for a very, very long time. Very sad to see.
That's not true. They entered a season or so ago. They entered a few races. Yeah, sure did. Did Harry Conway. Harry Conway, by the way, the only 3-time Night Owl champion that there's ever been. Nobody's won more championships than him in this particular series. "12 minutes left in the race. Barzaghi still with that stop to give. Seeley out on the track. That was a very clean stop. Nothing to report on that particular venture. We believe we know Santo is going to take the lead and should, by all rights, win this race in silver. The 94 BMW has done a vanishing act on the rest of the silver class. The 505 of Ibiata is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least 12 seconds behind. Barring any calamity here, it should be Santos to lose. Of course, Miller leading in the AM class now, has a pit stop left. Will that hand the lead back over to Masatoshi? It's going to be close, folks. I've done the math. It is going to be close.
Found Harry. Season 10, he took part. Got 8th in silver. Only got points for 2 races. Both were first place.
Did you actually look it up to make sure I wasn't joking?
I just wanted to see where he finished, and he did 3 races. One was at 0 points. He finished in 7th. Not sure what happened on that one. That was Silverstone, but Monza and Suzuka both were first place. One had fastest and pole Suzuka was fastest lap
I
and
do
pole
recall
position.
one race that he got batted around like a basketball. I
It's
remember that.
probably Silverstone. Normally, is what happens at Silverstone is you get batted around like tennis. So this isn't tennis. This is GT racing.
It is true, though. Mr. Batty Stone, or Harry Conway, as he's known on the racetrack, did not pay us to say that, but it's an interesting statistic that nobody has won more championships than him. There's been drivers that have won more races, certainly in
Yeah.
Night Owl, but nobody has won more championships than he has. Incredible stuff. Michael Firth in the SBR 22 in what appears to be 11th place. It says 12th. Is that a pass? No, I think he is in 11th here.
He is.
He is indeed. He
we go.
was in a battle with Galinsky. Galinsky must have gotten by him momentarily, or not Galinsky, Dauber rather, must have gotten by him momentarily, but has made the repass as Firth. Dauber sees his next and probably last position he can gain right in front of him. We'll have to get a move on. 9 minutes left to go in the race.
I just noticed with those two Ferraris, the only Ferraris I believe we have on the track today. Dolber's in the nice, like, fresh banana, and Firth is in more of the been there a week banana. I just thought I'm hungry. Can you tell?
Well, whatever Katrina's doing, I wouldn't go in there and disturb her. What do you think she got you? Interesting.
Oh, shut up, Jess. I honestly don't know.
What do you think she got you?
She put something in the basket today, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, okay, I know it's my present, and I forgot already. Like, she can buy stuff right under my nose, and I will forget.
Here's the great thing about dating you, Ted, I suspect, is that nothing you do, when you're out shopping really matters, because you're going to forget later. I think that I don't want to go into mansplaining, but I have the same issue. I will go out for a shop and I will forget what I've picked up. And I think Katrina's using that against you a little bit.
Yeah, the thing is, if I buy something under her nose, she'll remember it for like years to come. Do you remember when you brought me that? No. But yeah.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. You know what I mean?
I don't.
I just can't do it.
If you guys out there saw, the 944 did have a drive-through. I believe that was for track limits. Alpha is typing, so probably shouting at us saying it was for track limits. So yeah, track limits. Barzaghi is still the only pro car with one pit left. The 924 still don't know what their pit strategy is, but they've got 5 minutes 50 to serve both pits, and I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know what Pavel Guida's doing.
I have no clue.
This is highly irregular.
They normally know what they're doing with their pit strategies. We've never seen them do this. Like, do they really think it's one and they're so focused in the race, which can happen. We've seen that before, where people have forgot that there is a pit stop, or there is two pit stops, because obviously any other champ we don't have two pit stops like this, mandatory ones. So here come the bananas.
This is crazy. 3 wide into Goddard's. One car almost completely off the racetrack. Was that John Eraser? I don't think it was. That was one of the other McLarens that was trying to desperately get out of the way. Joe Dauber still trying to get around Firth. He's going to dive down into Red Gate, turn number 1. Has he got him? Yes, he has. Maybe a little bit of desperation there over Joe Dauber with 6 minutes left in the race to get that spot now. Eyes forward for John Eraser, because Joe Dauber is coming here for a P6 position. I know it's 9th on the track. It doesn't matter, because they only get points in their class. This is for 6. What an excellent recovery for Joe, if he can do it. But if there's one thing I know about Eraser, he's not going to let him have it, Ted.
That was Night Owl of the Battle of the Bananas right there, which is finished with Dolber taking it from 22. And the penalty has come in. It is a warning for car 877 on lap 31, turn 2. Avoidable contact against the car 69. Very nice. On the end of turn 2, so it is a warning, but their first one by the looks of it. Been
I
okay with the penalties today, Jesse. A few earlier on, obviously, and then when the field thinned out a bit, there was not much really going on apart from the 877 that got in everyone's way a little bit and ended up being sent through Goddard's sideways. But apart from that, it's been a pretty good race.
Yeah, considering how it started, I think we should all be pretty happy with how it's turned out. It started off quite messy, admittedly, and as I said very early on, it could have been a lot worse as the track sort of cleaned itself a little bit, and most drivers were enough to slow down a little bit through the second, third, and fourth turn before they got to the old hairpin, and largely was unscathed because of it. A couple of cars weren't so lucky, obviously, but able to keep going. And here we are, final few minutes. And at this point, I think we all have to accept that Pavel Gaida is not going to pit this car. Now, in this case, I think we have to explain what happens here. The stewards on our end don't have to do anything. ACC will do it themselves. And I'm quite curious. I'm going to ask you a question here, Ted, but I know it's a massive penalty, 130 seconds or something like that, for not fulfilling the pit requirements in a race. But because it's 2 pit requirements they haven't done, does that do anything to the penalty? Does that double it up or something?
No, I don't. I believe it's not because it's just one. It's a one rule basically. They just haven't done. You know, it's the same penalty as a 1 pit stop. It doesn't change how many pit stops you have. It doesn't. You won't have your penalty timed by that. It wouldn't be 260-second penalty. I think it would just be the 130-second. But again, we've never seen this before. This is a first. Powell showing us what happens when you don't do 2 pit stops in a race.
Now, we've all seen, haven't we, somebody not do an pit stop and get a penalty. That's happened a couple of times. You'd be surprised. It is, even though it's on your screen, if you don't have the HUD on. Oh, he is in! Pavel Gaida is in here!
It's not like Mawson, lovely Ryan Mawson on the cameras, has already done maths before you have, Jesse, that won't make it round to do another one.
Yeah.
Because a lap around here is 1 minute 26, and it's already 1 minute 25 left on the pit window. Now,
did Gaida not know
Yeah.
or not realize it was a 2-stopper tonight?
Yeah.
Somehow.
So, we're not going to find out what 2, if you don't do 2 of them. We'll find, obviously, 1 is 130-second, definitely. Joe Dolber, Battle of Bananas! And then
oh, the bananas!
It's Messinal 4.
I have no idea exactly what happened there. By the way,
9, but
by the way, in the continuing saga of Dragon Ball Super tonight, Gaida did pit, but didn't change tires, which is required to satisfy the minimum requirements. And now the pit window is going to expire, so we are going to see what happens when you have 2 outstanding pit stops when the race ends.
It's always night owl, mostly night owl.
It's night owl, baby.
It finds out what happens if you do this. It's the first champ to always find out new things, and we're gonna find out what happens when you don't do 2 pits. But if I was Powell, I'd be pretty. I don't even think they've realised that there is pit requirements to do, but yeah, there goes Dario Bazagi. The other Lexus is
now
in the
that
pit
was a
lane
perfect.
as well.
That was a perfectly timed stop. He had about 20-ish seconds when he came down the pit lane.
57.1 seconds was his pit stop compared to Seeley's 1 minute, Santos 102. Powell's got the fastest with 32, but I don't think it counts. But Flamga was the fastest with a 57.346. Now Dario, amazing pit stop, 2 tenths faster, but it puts him in second at the minute. We'll just have to see what Santo can do. But 6 seconds back with less than a minute on the clock, isn't going to get second place, but definitely will get first place in silver.
Well, crazy race, and it's going to come down to it for a couple of these positions. I thought it might have been close between Miller in the 333 and Kaneko in the 740, and it really wasn't that, but Miller will likely take home second place in AM. Masatoshi Kaneko will get another deserved win in the 740 Lamborghini, e especially in the car that they're in. Huge applause for them. Santo is going to cruise home and win the silver class. Ibiata will be second place, and I'm pretty sure Firth will be third. Now, that is unless Galinsky can get into range here on the final lap and do something about it. This is the last lap of the race, and I've just got to say this about Leon Seeley. He's lost them just about every way you could have imagined. He's had some sort of mechanical failure in the past. We don't know exactly what happened there. He's got penalties that have ended races. He's sped in the pit lane. He's had penalties adjudicated by the stewards. He's disconnected. It's been a long time coming. It's hard. It's crazy to say that in such a short space of time. But Leon Seeley about to win a race. And just as I say that, these drivers continuing to battle. These drivers will have one more lap left.
Yeah, Darwell trying to go for the cutback, but Curtin keeps the inside very nicely and goes wide for the exit. Very nice. But look at the Ferrari power. One person who knows what the Ferrari power is like on a straight is obviously Ballestone. Drove against them in the 720, and oh my god, the Ferrari at Paul Ricard is really quick. But around here, not so much with the fast twist, but just get past Curtin, so there's still a fight on. And here comes Leon Seeley for pole in the pro class, and overall very well done to them. Very good race, no mistakes whatsoever. Dario Barzaghi though did have that 5-second penalty, but still comes across second in the pro. Very well done.
Was certainly an excellent job. Some fights here coming down to the last. Flamger and Pimlott fighting it out side by side through Goddard's, and it will of course be won by actually that was yeah, indeed, it will be Flamger out in front of Pimlott. I was confused because Guida was in front of all of them, but
yeah.
I realized that didn't matter because they were going to get a massive penalty, and in fact they have done. It's 130 seconds no matter how many stops you didn't do. Mark that down in your notebooks, folks. Joe Daubers coming across here. Will there be one final lunge on John Eraser for that position for P6 in class? Will he have to defend against Kierton? He will do the defending here. He's going to have to let Eraser go. Eraser will take 6th place, and Dauber will settle for 7th. Still good points considering they were at the tail end of the field at the end of lap 1. Masatoshi Kaneko has yet to come across the line. In fact, will be one of the last cars to do so. And here they are. Masatoshi coming across. The Helmet Club will win the race. A brilliant drive from the Japanese driver as Kaneko gets a deserved win. Congratulations to all our class victors today. I would say it's a feel-good day if you're any of our winners, certainly so. Here are the provisional results, of course, always pending post-race stewarding. Leon Seeley, the 246, wins the race over Barzaghi. And you have Santo in third, the winner in the silver class. Third place in pro, Timothy Flamger. Behind them, Rudy Philmalter, second place in silver, and Firth, third in the silver class. Masatoshi Kaneko wins it in AM over Miller. And I believe that's Kevin Boss who takes home third in the GTR.
Yeah, Miller's plan did get them a second place in AM. Very well done to them in that old Porsche. But yeah, as we see, Kenko didn't really get away at the end stage of the race. Miller, yeah, it was quite a way back, but still there, ready to fight. So, pretty good going from those three drivers. And yeah, Kevin Boss, let's go in that Nissan. But unfortunate day for the Jag, which started from the pit lane and got 30-second stop and go. But hey, it's a Jag.
Yeah, it sure is. And of course, what a race we had tonight. You know, there's racing going on every week, all week, even in the holiday season. We'd love to have you go to racerci.com. You can sign up to any of our upcoming or currently running championships. All you have to do for a lot of those series is do pre-qualifying. I can't tell you for the winter break for Night Owl and Friday, you don't even have to do pre-qualifying. You just sign up, put yourself in a split, and get going. We have all sorts of series coming and going all of the time. Geneta Cup wraps up this Monday. And on top of that, the Random Track Championship that is taking place on Wednesday. We're halfway through that. Night Owl finale in 2 weeks' time in the USA. And just so many different interesting things. The Thursday Champ continuing season 11, Thursday Champ, 2 rounds left to go in that series. The World Endurance Challenge for 2022 has 2 rounds left as well. So much racing here. GT3, GT4, and touring cars, Porsche Cup, and all that stuff as well. We've got all sorts of stuff for you, and doesn't matter what your skill level is, we have a split for you. RaceRCI.com. A big thank you to everybody here that makes this broadcast and every broadcast possible. The admins, directors, the stewards, and of course, everyone here on the broadcast booth. Big thank you to you guys at home as well for watching and joining us late on a Saturday evening. We hope that you've enjoyed the broadcast, and feel free, leave a like and a subscribe on the way out. We finally hit, I know it doesn't say it today, but we finally hit 4,200 subs on YouTube. That was a big milestone for us. It took us forever to get there, but we have, in fact, done it. Ted Edwards, take us out.
Oh, sorry, my microphone was muted again. Jesse Lee keeps
It's
pulling
night out,
he keeps
baby!
pulling my microphone out with his big feet of his. But yes, until next time, have a good weekend.